Greetings, fellow merchants of Calradia. I am Halcylion, founder of the Handruber clan, and today my advice will help you go from this to this as you turn your pile of gold into a mountain. Welcome to my advanced trade guide. In my previous tutorial I've taught you how to think of your party not as a warband but as a trade convoy. I wanted to call it a caravan, but that word has another meaning in this context. Today, I'm going to teach you several strategies to increase the profitability of your own convoy, and then move beyond that by generating lots of passive income through smart investments into caravans and workshops. Governing over towns may also bring you lots of revenue, but that doesn't qualify as trading, and we won't talk about it. The first order of business is correcting some misinformation from the previous guide. You don't need to be Aserai to enjoy trading. I chose to be one because the bonuses were appealing to me, but you can do trading as any of the cultures. In fact, I tested my strategies on a new character, this time a Botanian, and despite the slow start, I still managed to turn a huge profit in the end. Regardless of culture, there's three important things to pay attention to when creating your trader. Background options which increase your social attribute should be picked first. If no such option is available, intelligence is also useful for a trader. The third priority is having some focus points into the trade skill. The reason social is so important is because without it, you cannot maximize your trade skill. As this skill levels up, make sure you take these perks ASATBA. With the avatar created, do all you've learned in basic trade. Hire recruits, invest in mules, buy green, sell red, all the good stuff. By the way, I call the last one the golden rule. I've been informed by other merchants that sumpter horses and pack camels are cheaper alternatives to mules, especially if purchased from villagers. In your travels, you will regularly see peasants going to the nearest city to sell their produce and back to their village with the pennies they've earned. Simply approach them after they've left town and use this option. 300 denars for 1000 pounds of carry capacity is a pretty good investment. You have the option of raiding these peasants, but such an unprovoked attack is a declaration of war to their entire faction, and that would severely cripple your options for trade. People would chase you off from their towns and your caravans would get raided, and I doubt that's something you want as a trader. This perk could somewhat mitigate the negative consequences of a war deck, but it'll take a while to unlock. Next, we need to discuss fief mechanics. You see, peasants aren't free to conduct their trade the same way caravans are, because their village is bound to a city. In a way, they are bound by contract to only sell their produce to that town, and can't just take their goods to any marketplace they fancy. I mean, they kinda break that law when they sell to you, but it's shush cause you ain't no itch. Basically, cities are trade centers and their villages are production centers, and whatever the villages produce will be sold for low prices in that town. But you can simplify matters for yourself by just ignoring villages altogether and attributing the production of their goods to the town they're bound to. In this example, the city of Poros produces Midlands palfrey and sheep through its villages, and here you can expect to find reasonably priced mules, horses, as well as butter, wool, or cheese. Knowing this is good if you base your trade routes on speculation, and to help with that, you can hover on a town, look at its bound villages, and then investigate each of them to see what they produce. To make it easier to find a city's production centers, pay attention to this banner. That same banner flies above the villages bound to that particular town. To give a proper example, let's look at the town of Pencanok. It has one village producing clay, another village producing clay, and another village that produces, you guessed it, clay. You'll never guess where the cheapest clay can be bought from. But you may have noticed that some villages are bound to castles, and castles don't have markets, so where do these villagers offload their production? Good question. In short, villages bound to castles take their goods to the nearest city of their faction. In this example, the villages Lysia and Garantor, which are bound to Garantor Castle, a fief of the empire, will sell their production to the nearest imperial town, Ortygia. But if the Aserai decide to invade and conquer this castle, then its bound villages will send their peasants all the way down south to sell their goods in Kiyaz and changing the economic environment. At the moment, Kiyaz pays well for imported salt, but if they were to take this castle, they would own part of the local salt production, reducing their need for import and driving the prices down. At least until the empire decides to burn the village to the ground, in which case, nobody wins. Except the peasants. They get to see God. Here's another useful tip. towns offer a lower starting price on trade goods if their volume is abundant, but that price increases the more you purchase. Villages, on the other hand, may not offer the lowest prices per item, but their price remains constant even as you deplete the entire stock. When I want to buy cheap horses, I simply head to a desert village, purchase all the mounts, and instead of paying with denars, I give the guys some much needed fish. And as I sell the seafood, the price remains fixed. Unfortunately, villages don't have a lot of money, so you can't grow rich off their inability to discern whether they really need the 1000 tons of fish. Where would they even keep it? Surprisingly, caravans are just as incompetent as the villages, and you can basically camp for them outside the town's gates and make a huge sale without the price ever changing, because they have the money to actually afford it all. I suspect this will change in the future as the caravaneers grow wiser, but for now, they can easily be abused. God bless their souls. Selling to caravans can fetch you lots of money, but I'm 100% sure this is unintended and could be considered an exploit which will get patched soon. Think about it, caravans want to make profits. If they buy cotton from you for 151 denars and they sell it into town for 66 denars, is that a profit? I don't think so. You robbed them blind without even putting a knife to their throat. When this exploit inevitably gets patched, you may still approach caravans and ask them for trade rumors and find out where to buy certain trade goods for a low price. So in a way, they'll still be useful. With all that context in place, I have structured the rest of this guide into 3 separate stages to better illustrate the diverse strategies you can employ, depending on the size of your convoy and the capital at your disposal. When you start, you're basically a nobody with a purse full of coins and a desire for more coins, and you are in the first stage of your trade journey, the "I hope to God this next trade makes some profit or I will starve today" stage. The objective of this stage is to use what little you have to lay the foundation for your trade convoy to prosper. So you hire a few volunteers to protect your cargo, you approach some villagers and try to get some sumpters for a reasonable price, and hopefully you still have half of your starting money. Then you head to the nearest town, ask for rumors, and pray to God that they're right. You listen to the advice, buy the cheese, and sell it to the town rumored to give you a profit. You got a profit, and now you do the same, but this time with grain, because your pre-existing knowledge of the first town tells you there's a shortage. With luck, you'll have recovered your initial investment in a couple of trade runs. In the second town, you don't need to ask for rumors. Your character already remembers the prices from the first town because he's been there personally. During the first stage, you are barely maintaining yourself above the poverty line, and every trade may result in a loss of profits if another caravan arrived before you and lowered the price, as per the law of supply and demand. You can prevent such unfortunate scenarios if you just learn a few things about the goods you're trading. These items have been placed into 3 categories, depending on how risky they are. What do I mean by risk, you may wonder? Well, the biggest risk there is in trading is you buying wine, let's say, in one place for 60 euros, then getting to another town and seeing it sells for 50. Then you ride to a third town hoping they'll have a good price and surprise surprise, it sells for 40. If you had any money, you could buy it for this price, but you're broke. You gotta sell this wine now or your soldiers will leave you carrying your cargo all by yourself because you haven't been paying them for 3 days. That's what I call a risky investment. Now onto the categories. In Tier 1, we can find low-risk, high-volume, raw resources, which can be bought in huge quantities without greatly altering the price. Hardwood, flax, clay, olives, grain, or fish fall into this category, and they are initially produced in villages and then taken to towns. With a constant warfare happening all across Calradia, villages get plundered and their production stops for days on end, which may lead to shortages of these basic materials in certain towns, meaning these wares are highly sought after at all times, which makes them the most reliable goods to trade, even after you have hundreds of thousands of denars in your pockets and a huge retinue at your disposal. The downside to trading these is the fact that your profit margins will be lower, but the sheer volume with which they can be purchased make this a very effective method of doubling your money. Food is especially profitable in a town that's just been under siege, as no caravans or villagers could supply them with much needed nutrition. Look here, those poor people are being sieged. The fear they must feel, the hunger, it's all so terrible. So of course, since you already have tons of food on you, you will do the altruistic thing and sell them food at exorbitant prices. Enjoy the profits. To give a proper example on why Tier 1 goods are so good, Look at clay. Even as I purchase 200 units, the price barely increases from 9 to 10 to a measly 11, maintaining itself well below the 40% of the average price even as I take the entire stock. Basically, these resources are so cheap and abundant that you can just purchase them green in one town, walk across the map for 5 minutes and find a city that doubles your investment. And you don't even need to stick to the golden rule to turn a profit on these things. If you buy them green, you can sell them yellow, and if you buy them yellow, sell them red. You won't get maximum profit on every trade, but it will be consistent. Tier 2 consists of processed goods. Linens made from flax, beer from grain, and clay is used to make pottery. These are generally high risk, low volume, and should be avoided during stage 1. But if you're tempted to trade with these items early on, I highly recommend you save your game before you make a purchase. And if your trade fails, simply reload and try with another item. I don't like to just save and reload my game 50 times per session, so if I'm short on cash, I simply disregard these items. Here's the problem with them. With the aforementioned clay, the price jumped up by 2 denars as I purchased 200 units. The price of pottery, on the other hand, increases by 2 for each unit purchased. This will severely cut into your profits. Now, if you have lots of money and a huge convoy, you can just buy these green and eventually sell them red, being able to turn a huge profit in the long run. But when you rely on completing the next trade today just to be able to pay the wages of your soldiers, you cannot afford to trek across Calradia with 50 bottles of wine looking for a place that actually earns a profit on these. Trading tier 2 goods can potentially make you lots of money, but they're favored by caravans and you may buy them cheap expecting a huge profit, but by the time you reach a town rumored to pay triple, another caravan got there and now your potential profit is gone. If this is the case, I have a solution for you, which isn't pleasant, but it's preferable to wasting months traveling the entire continent in hopes of turning a profit on those goods. Don't fall into the trap of the sunk cost fallacy. If you realize it's taking you too long to turn a profit, just liquidate the investment. Sell everything for near the same price you paid for it. Sure, it's a loss, but you prevent wasting any more of your time hoping to get a good price. Use this time to purchase high volume goods instead, or profiting off rumors in nearby towns. Although the loss of profit stings, it may be the wise choice. And finally, tier 3 is made up of luxury items which possess extreme financial risk at a tiny volume. Leather, velvet, and jewelry falls into this category. You can potentially earn an immense profit for every single item you buy cheap and sell expensive, but it's rare to actually find towns which sell these above or below the average price. I tend to ignore these and focus on the previous 2 tiers. But if your budget is limited and you'd rather ignore tier 2 as well, you may just buy resources from a village and sell them into another village. You won't get lots of money this way, but it could work in your favor since their prices remain constant even as you trade large quantities. As I was saying, the goal of stage 1 is to lay the foundation by growing your convoy and your capital. During this phase, you have to work towards increasing your carry capacity to 3,000 pounds, hiring 20 people as guardsmen, and scraping together 5,000 denars. For me, this took less than 30 minutes. Once this clear goal has been achieved, you find yourself at the beginning of stage 2, also called the "I still have some money in my pocket after buying all this crap" stage. During this phase, you're basically doing the same thing you've been doing in stage 1, but more efficiently, and without fearing that if one trade fails, your men's wages go unpaid and they'll leave you all alone at the mercy of bandits. Basically, your foundation is set, but you still need to build your wealth upon it. For stage 2, besides developing your convoy and growing your wealth, I'll give you one more objective to achieve: rebuild your clan. It's a quest with some clear specifications, some of which have already been achieved if you followed my guidance. But to complete it, you'll have to grow your renown in these lands, and the best way to do so at this stage is killing large packs of looters. Don't waste your time chasing them, but if they're in your way, do the Christian thing and send these men to God. He's very disappointed in them and would like to give them a proper scolding. To grow your clan, you'll also need to hire a companion, which will be very useful later on. Oh, and if you see people like these in your travels, approach them and have a chat. Saves you from having to scour the entire continent for them later on. Now, during this stage, you have enough money and carry capacity to purchase tier 1 resources in larger quantities, and reliably double your money as you sell them where they're needed. Pro tip: if you have items to sell, you don't need to walk into every town to see if they'll bring a profit. You can simply open the inventory at any time, look at your wares, and if the price is red, head into the nearest town and make a sale. You may also buy cheap horses and mules, and if you see a town offering 3 times the amount you paid for the beasts, you can make extra profits by selling them. Even if you don't sell these animals, you still benefit from an increased carry capacity or map speed for your convoy. As for your escort, you might want to consider raising your party to at least 30 men, and upgrade them after every skirmish with bandits, even though that will increase their daily wages. As previously stated, their main purpose is to act more like deterrent towards ill-intentioned individuals, and protect your convoy as you trade goods all across the continent. But don't let trading consume your life as I have. Feel free to engage in whichever fun activities you see fit every once in a while, such as hunting down bandits and tearing down their hideouts. Not really a goal of stage 2, but you need to take a break from time to time, you know. And if you find gardening relaxing, you can sell the fruits of your labor on the local flea market for a pretty penny, in addition to making good progress on rebuilding your clan. And later on, once you've established a solid income, don't spend all your money on trade runs. Treat yourself to some awesome armor or a fancy new weapon and just have some fun. Personally, as much as I enjoy trading, I waited for Bannerlord so I can drink from some skulls. Trade just made it easier for me to acquire the means to expand my tankard collection. Anyway, let's get back to the subject. So you have about 30 good men in your army, you've made some profitable trades, and you're kinda sorta getting bored of all this walking across the map trading from city to city. Well, what can I say except suck it up, Buttercup? You're tired of walking? Good, buy some horses. Not the Sumter horses, those are for carrying your stuff. No, you need something faster that your soldiers can ride on. You can buy cheap horses in villages raising them, or their bound towns, and doing so will significantly increase your map movement speed. So while this isn't an investment that can directly make you money, it will speed up your trade runs, so trust me, it's worth it. If you've got 30 footmen, you obviously need 30 spare horses for them, carried in your inventory. And if you've learned their prices, you may even buy more than 30 and sell the excess when it's profitable. There may be some confusion when it comes to animals, especially for players just coming from previous Mount & Blade games. In Warband you had to herd these little bastards around the map, and here they just go straight to your inventory. And since they're walking alongside your convoy, they obviously don't occupy any inventory space, and animals such as sheep or hogs will be butchered for meat if your marching army runs out of food. Oh, you can also make a profit buying cows from a village producing them and selling them in a town where they're in short supply, but animals don't get green or red price indicators. You're gonna have to remember the purchase price yourself and make sure you actually sell it for more, not less than what you paid for it. Where were we? Right, spare horses for your soldiers increases your map speed. Honestly, if you're fast, you don't need more than 30 men because no bandit parties will be able to catch up to you, so you have that extra layer of protection. This is especially useful if you're about to walk into the steppe, as those pesky horse archer bandit hordes won't be able to catch up to you. Now, someone made a crazy suggestion that it's a great idea to grab a steppe horse, a bow, and lots of tournament arrows, and just venture all alone in the steppe, allowing the local bandits to chase you down. As you defeat them with blunt arrows, they'll be knocked out, allowing you to take them prisoner and eventually recruit them to your cause. The rationale behind this method is that you'd have horsemen guarding your caravan, allowing you to move faster on the map. But as I tested this method, I was faced with horse archers and I kinda got captured myself. 10 out of 10, best method of recruitment, would recommend. But I'm getting sidetracked again, so allow me to clearly enunciate the objectives of Stage 2. Number 1. Grow your convoy to 10,000 carry capacity, expand your escort to 30 trained men, and fatten your wallet to 20,000 groschen, denars, whatever. Number 2. Rebuild your clan. One of the prerequisites for this is hiring a companion. I've searched the world far and wide for someone skilled in trade, hoping a caravan led by such a companion would turn a huge profit, but apparently skills have no bearing on revenue, so in the end, they don't really matter. The only thing that matters is to give your companions a fast mount, head to a nearby city from a faction you like, talk to any of the town merchants from this interface, and invest 15,000 silver into your very own caravan. That is objective number 3, by the way, establishing your first caravan. Trading goods between towns all by yourself can get tedious, so your ultimate goal is establishing a source of passive income. But don't get too excited, because in addition to the 15,000 upfront cost, this caravan will run at a loss, just like my channel, and it will cost you about 200 denars per day to maintain. Less with the appropriate perk. The caravan guards need their wages paid too, that's why you need the extra 5,000. Don't worry about it though, in about a week after you set it up, this caravan will pay for itself and even make a pretty profit. But you might want to use the 5k to keep trading, because that's what you do best. You turn money into even more money. But completing these 3 objectives doesn't mean you're at stage 3. Oh no. You only graduate to stage 3 after you recover the 15k you spent on a caravan, and you're back to 20,000, although with the increased daily income, you'll bounce back pretty fast. Alright, you got a large convoy, you got 30 men, you've got your money back, and you've got a caravan making you money on a daily basis. Congratulations, you've arrived at stage 3, the conquest stage. You won't conquer the world yet, but you will conquer all the markets and increase your wealth to such a degree that you'll be able to sustain the largest army to ever march across Calradia, and eventually conquer the entire continent. But you don't need to do any conquest when you can just buy out the castles and cities from their rightful owners. After all, you can afford it. But that's in the future. Right now, we're just taking our first steps in stage 3. Once you're at this point, you have a couple of options at your disposal. Option number 1, you can invest another 15,000 into a second caravan, and as you earn money passively, you can feel free to hunt bandits and looters or even participate in tournaments, all for the purpose of gaining renown and growing your clan. Or option number 2, use the 20,000 to enter what I like to call money printer mode. What is money printer mode, you may wonder? Well, you have plenty of cargo space and money to just walk into a town, purchase everything that's within the green price range, and then walk into the next town selling whatever is in the red price range while at the same time buying everything green. And basically, you walk from town to town buying green and selling red, constantly making money as you travel the world. At this stage, you're not worried about gaining a large profit in your very next trade, as it was in stage 1. Because even if your current money is 0, your inventory is filled with trade goods which can always be sold for a profit, or, if absolutely necessary, liquidated for an instant payment. But you won't have to worry about anything at all because your caravan's constantly making you profit, and instead of seeing a negative daily gold change, you will earn lots of money every day, in addition to having all the wages already paid for. As you travel the world in money printer mode, you will see a steady expansion of your capital, and eventually, you will be able to invest into a second caravan, and a third, and a fourth, if you've taken care of increasing your clan level and hired enough companions to run those caravans for you. Your clan level also determines the amount of workshops you can own, but we'll talk more about this subject later. You know what I find amusing? That the easiest method of trade only becomes available to you during this third stage, and to reach it, you actually have to use some more advanced trade strategies, which I will share with you right now. I'm pretty sure you've already been using these techniques, but let's actually become aware of them. In the early game, when you enter a tavern asking for rumors, and you get some good info about a certain item being sold for a nice profit in some nearby town, I call that focused trading. You are focused on one item, one city, and you rely on turning a profit right now. Since you don't have a lot of money or carry capacity, you have to focus on one thing at a time, and so this is useful for your first few trade runs. So you buy something in town A, transport it to town B, luckily the rumor was correct and you made a profit. Now, time to do focused trading back to town A with another item. Asking for rumors right now is superfluous because when you entered the marketplace in the first town, your character automatically took note of the local prices, marking them as rumors. So you see grain is needed back at town A, and you buy it from town B, but your previous information can become outdated if another caravan fulfilled that demand, but with faith, you take the grain back to the first marketplace and made some more profit. As you earn money and increase your cargo space, you can have more freedom in what you buy. But you don't want to go too far away, so you stick to trading locally between these two towns. So you can afford to look at items in the green price range, and if rumors tell you that town B pays well for butter, cheese, and wool, you buy these 3 items and sell them all for profit. In a way, this is similar to focused trading, but since you're no longer focused on a single item, I call this targeted trading. You have some fresh rumors about town B buying a number of different items, and you target that town to sell multiple items for a tidy profit. The third type of trading is when you do multiple trades between 2 towns. This is called local trading. So you walk from town A to town B selling stuff on a rumor, get info on the markets, and now you know what sells cheaply in one town and is bought for more in the other. So you stick to transporting goods between these 2 towns as you do multiple focused or targeted trade runs, earning a solid profit each time. Eventually the supply and demand of these 2 towns will stabilize, in which case it's time to go to another area and do local trading there. But it's a shame to travel with an empty inventory, so you try to figure out what to buy in the first zone and sell for profit in the next. But how do you do that? You don't have any rumors giving you information. Well, you see, the previously mentioned trade methods rely on semi-accurate information. But if you're going far away, you'll have no such information and you have to rely on another type of commerce: speculative trading. You have to pick a city to go to, and before you fill your cargo with cheap trade goods, try to speculate what could potentially bring you profits in that town. You can't know for sure what goods sell well over there, but you can figure out what the town produces locally and what it doesn't based on its bound villages. So you hover on the city of Lagata, learn of its bound villages, and then see that one produces hardwood and the other raises hogs. Well, they don't produce any grain, so we can buy some from here and maybe we'll sell it for a profit when we get there. We don't know, but we can hope. Alright, grain loaded on the mules, let's go. And it looks like our speculation was correct. Because they don't produce wheat locally, they pay a pretty penny for imported grain. So we've earned a profit. Now that you're here, get to know the neighboring towns and learn what they produce and what they need imported. I find local trading to be very relaxing and satisfying, as you don't have to travel the world looking to earn profits. You can just buy stuff in town A, sell it to town B, rinse and repeat, and see your wallet grow fat. And when trade dries up again, pick up another town in the distance, speculate what they would buy for profit, make a purchase and ride towards it. And if it doesn't pay off, simply get to know the area and liquidate your investments if you have to, if it frees up space and time for you to do profitable local trading in the area. But trying to bulk sell a large stack of items for profit into a single town is the equivalent of putting all eggs in one basket, especially if your target town is a bit further away on the map. What you do in this case is buy all the items you were planning to sell to this faraway town, but because you know that offers can expire by the time you get there, you also pass through every other town in your way and sell a portion of your stock there. Let's call this trail trading, as you make a trail while going from town C to town D, and you pass through every city in between. Trail trading bridges the gap between targeted trading and money printer mode, and is a good way for you to get to know the markets before settling to do local trading in one zone. Trail trading is also good if you purchased a huge volume of fish, for example, but the price dramatically decreases before you sell your entire stock. You will simply have to supply multiple towns with the fish you bought. And once you arrive at stage 3, you can of course enter money printer mode. So let me clue you in on how you can simplify trading. In this stage, you should be able to afford a large retinue and way more pack horses. So if you can achieve 15,000 carry capacity, it would be ideal. So, you've got a large amount of money, a whole lot of inventory space, and enough men to intimidate anyone even thinking of attacking you. You've also got enough saddle horses for each of your soldiers, but that is irrelevant for the current subject. With this setup, you can just walk into a town, go to the market, click on this barrel icon to filter for trade goods only, sort the merchant's inventory from cheapest to most expensive, sort your own inventory in the opposite manner, and look for offers. First, you sell whatever is in the red price range until it's yellow, and then you buy whatever the merchant's selling in the green price range. Then you leave the market, go to another town, sort the inventory in the same manner, and repeat this process as you enjoy growing your wealth. Rinse, repeat, and now you're rich. You should actually use this method of sorting throughout all 3 stages, not just when you've reached the final one, obviously. But a true master merchant doesn't just stay in money printer mode to grow his wealth. He constantly gathers intel, and if he spots a lucrative trade opportunity, such as a severe shortage somewhere, he travels to a town selling that needed resource and makes a huge profit. But if you're a merchant who doesn't care about such arbitrary concepts such as morality, you can just create shortages yourself by buying up all the cheap food and then selling it back to the general population for exorbitant prices. Honestly, I make enough money from all my other tactics to bother using this one, but hey, it can work well for you. But buying green and selling red is no longer the only method of making huge profits, because the latest 1.1 patch changed some things, and I will try to explain them, but it will be pretty difficult, so please, bear with me. Let's explain some elements of the trade interface in great detail. Here are your items. This is the item's overview bar, and this little box is the item's description. Now you can see an item's price both in the overview and the description, and we can see that sometimes the colors of the 2 versions of the same price are different. Why is that? Well, the price in the item's description indicates its value relative to the global average. Green means below average, yellow means average, and red means above average. If you only use this element of the trade interface, the golden rule of buy green, sell red makes sense. However, that's no longer the only thing to be concerned about, because now you've got different colors on the item's overview, and they may confuse you as they confused me. So let's make sense of them together. The color of the price in the overview does not indicate an item's value relative to the global average, but it instead tells you how profitable the item is relative to the information gathered by your caravans. See this perk? Let's read its description. Your caravans now gather trade rumors and mark your profits. Mark my words. So the color in an item's overview is a marker for profitability. Bright green means highly profitable. Faded green means somewhat profitable. Yellow indicates no change. Orange tells you it's a bad idea to trade this item, and red is an absolute loss of profit. And now, some examples. In this first instance, we are in Revel looking at linen. The overview price marker is green, but the description shows a red price, so what do? If you follow the golden rule, you don't buy it because it's red. But if you look at the fresh rumors in the description, you can see that some towns pay you a lot more than what this linen costs. So if you follow the overview's green marker, you buy it for 77 denars, go to a town rumored to pay more, and now we are in example number 2, in Marunath. With linen selected, we can now see that on our side of the screen, the overview marker is green, but on the trader's side, it's orange. This means if you sell it, you'll make a profit. If you buy it, however, you will not find a town which pays more. So now, along the golden rule, I will give you another rule of trading. Once you have the traveling rumors perk, your new rule is buy green, sell green. That's where the profit is. It won't be maximum profit as it is if you strictly follow the golden rule, but it will be consistent. So there, you now also possess the green rule. That's pretty good, eh? With that said, you need to know that the green rule is only useful to you after you've hit stage 3. This patch changed a lot more things, so let's discuss them one by one. Caravans cost a lot more to launch. The price has increased from 15,000 to 18,000. And now, caravans are not the safe investments they used to be before this patch, because bandits are no longer scared of attacking them, even if outnumbered by the caravan guards. And if you get this message about a caravan being attacked by bandits, ride towards there. Maybe the caravan guards will win the fight, but they will suffer some casualties, and since they have been weakened by one wave of bandits, they won't be as strong when they face another attack. And then another. If you feel a caravan is getting weaker, you should go and escort it. I have a theory that if you destroy their hideouts, you won't see as many gangs of bandits roam around the world, and you'll make the world a safer place for your caravans to move. But a safe environment is usually not the most profitable, which is why another solution I have for you is to equip the companions you send on caravans with the best gear you can afford. Give them a decent horse to ride on, a good saddle, which is now required, and some good weapons. The better equipped they are, the more they can do against their attackers. But stage 3 is not the endgame, and just like the previous 2 stages, you have some goals to achieve. The first goal is chasing large gangs of looters and bandits and give them hell, because the renown earned from such battles is required to expand your clan. A higher clan level allows you to hire more companions who can lead more caravans, which is your second objective during stage 3. Hire as many companions as you can and send each of them with a caravan. They are more useful for you making money than acting as medics or engineers in your party. If you already have 4 caravans, feel free to find a good companion and make him your second in command. Another important task during stage 3 is to use the speculation method given earlier to find towns which produce a huge amount of a certain resource. To give a previously used example, Penkanok has 3 clay-producing villages, and in that city, you should purchase a workshop which transforms the local resource into its crafted trade good. In this instance, a pottery shop turns clay into pottery, obviously. Because clay is affordable in this town, it will not cut into your profits. In order to purchase a workshop, you will have to take a walk through the town, press Alt to highlight key locations, and head towards any workshop you see. Maybe a smithy, or an oil press, or a wine press, So go there, talk to the shop worker, and he will ask you what workshop you desire. You will simply choose the pottery shop from the list of options and enjoy some extra daily income. But there's a possibility that you don't see the pottery shop in your list of options. Well, in that case, you choose this option, and the shop worker will tell you that this is already a pottery shop, so you don't need to change its production. This confused me at first, that's why I deem it important to share with you. And if you open a workshop that isn't profitable, check the local villages to see what they supply and change your workshop's production accordingly. And if it still ain't doing great, sell it to get some money back and open another workshop somewhere else. As an example, I had to liquidate my brewery in Sargot so I could open another one in Sanala. This was the best course of action, and I do not regret this decision. So to recap, your main objectives during the third stage are the following: grow your clan to at least level 3, invest into 3 caravans, buy 3 profitable workshops, increase your carry capacity to 15,000 and get at least 100,000 denars in your bank account. However, the most crucial objective to this strategy is to keep trading in order to increase your skill to level 125 and obtain this perk, because this perk makes it so much easier for you to increase your clan level. The best way to level up your trade skill during the third stage is to simply go into money printer mode and keep making profits, and eventually you will have enough money to even buy an entire city. If you have the appropriate perk, of course. But to take it, you'll need to keep grinding the skill and putting points into your social attributes, so this is going to take a while. But remember, the most important goal is for you to have fun, and the money you earn from trading and from your caravans make it possible for you to afford all the best weapons, armors and soldiers in the entire game, so that you may do whatever you want to do. Fight bandits and purge the world of all criminal scum, or become a lord and wage war on your enemies, but not before you've obtained this perk, to get you some money back when your caravan inevitably gets raided. With enough levels gained, you may even raise your intelligence and stewardship stat and rule Calradia as the chairman of a medieval megacorporation, increasing your number of companions and therefore caravans for each city you own. I will of course want to do this myself, but this can only be achieved as I play the game, and obviously if I'm just editing videos I can't actually play and grow my trade empire. So you can show your appreciation for my efforts by investing a like into this video and even subscribing if you want to see more of this. And if you have any tips and tricks that I've not shared, leave them in a comment to help others landing on this video. Well, this was all I had to say about trading in Mountain Blade 2 Bannerlord. As I grow my medieval corporation, I will either livestream the process or trim it down into an edited playthrough, so feel free to tune in. A combat tutorial for this game is also planned, but until then, we will have to part ways. So, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. Goodbye.